Yeah, so a lot of people are interested in, you know, why I moved to Africa, why I relocated my family to Africa. And pretty much my spirit was just driving me to Africa. I always thought about Atlanta, moving to Florida or, moving outside of PA because that's where I'm from. But ultimately, my heart kept coming back to Africa. And I did plenty of research on Africa, and I've never been here before. I've never been to Africa, but my blood has been here, so I feel that. I feel, like my ancestors were driving me back home. I kept thinking, what would my ancestors want me to do? They were taken, forcefully kidnapped, and I just thought my ancestors would just want me to come back home. It'd be Ghana, um, Botswana, um, Gambia, Senegal, Kenya, wherever. I don't really care much about the borders. Just being on the continent itself is just powerful. So I made that decision. I actually left a six-figure job. I was to me, I was successful slave. But I kept thinking about my family's safety. Yeah, so I left my six-figure job. I was making over $100,000 a year, and everybody looked at me like I was successful, the American dream. But the American dream was flawed to me. I was working, 6, 7 days a week, barely seeing my family, barely seeing my children. My children, even when they needed me, I couldn't be there. I had to miss certain things that I never wanted to miss. Um, and I just thought Africa would give me a different life, a better life, uh, a pole pole life. They say pole pole here. That means slow, slow, right? Uh, so we moved to Kenya, and it's honestly been the best decision I've ever made in my life. My children are happy. If you visit my children's school here, it's like visiting Wakanda. They have their school looks like a college campus, and people wouldn't even think that Africa has those things. You know, because the Western media doesn't portray Africa in a positive light. I told my family I was moving to Africa, and they were scared. They were scared. Man, I grew up in Philadelphia, Philly. So everybody that's from Philly, everybody that's from an inner city in America, you know how it is. Everybody carrying something on them, and it's nothing like that here. They asked me, do you guys really kill each other? Do you guys really hurt each other? Is there really black on black crime in America? They're shocked that we hurt each other. They're shocked. So that's how you know we're doing it all wrong. I'm all for, fighting for your rights and all that, but I'm tired of marching. I'm tired of marching. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just march to the airport and go back home. No offense to everybody that marching and all that stuff like that, but it's enough is enough. You fighting a system that's not built for you, and you're trying to bend it to make it benefit you, and it never will. And I grew up seeing, mothers bury their sons, and now I have a son of my own and a daughter of my own. So I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through worrying about somebody walking up to my child's school because they had a bad day and hurting every child in the building, in the school, on the campus. Every time you turn the news, there's another school shooting. Yeah, every time you look on the news, there's something bad happening. And I'm not gonna say nothing bad happens in Kenya, but I can guarantee you, I can walk down the street, I can go to the club, I can go out to eat, my kids can go to school, and I feel safe. I feel like my children are safe. I don't have that anxiety like I would have in America. I was paranoid for my children. I was paranoid for my family. And I wouldn't even leave my house. I would never leave my house without my gun, my firearm. Never. And if I did, I'll feel naked. Because I know somebody else might have a bad day. I might cut somebody off in traffic by mistake. And, they might want to hurt me. They might want to take my life from me. And I didn't want to, I felt like every time I stepped out my house, I was gambling, you know? But like I said, every time you turn on the news, there's something terrible happening to innocent people, innocent children. And things happen in Kenya, but not on that type of level. at all. You know, somebody talked about the Westgate incident that happened a couple years ago. Oh, you moved to Kenya and, you know, something happened in the Westgate Mall. Okay, look on the news. There's something always happening in the malls in America. Something always happening in schools, in the streets. Like, be real. Like, I can go to my neighborhood. I could take you to my neighborhood in Philadelphia, and I can drive around, and I can point at each corner saying who. I remember somebody getting killed there. I remember a friend. I remember family. Somebody getting killed on that block. So you tell me, you know, an incident happening. One time incident happened in Kenya, and incidents happening every single day to innocent people. So it's just a concoction of things that wanted me to that drove me back to home, and I feel like I'm home, and the love I receive is genuine. Um, Obviously, there's cons, but the pros outweigh the cons. The pros outweigh the cons. Um, people complain about some locals. If you have the American accent, some locals look at you like you have money, and that's nothing. They're not at fault for that because they watch movies. You know, they hear about America and they think every American has a ton of money, which we do make more money, but we're not rich. You know, we're not rich coming over here. But those are the things you got to deal with. Somebody trying to overcharge you, and when they overcharge you, you won't even realize it. But after you talk to a local or a friend that's Kenny, you can be like, "Oh, I got played. I got overcharged." But I'd rather deal with that than to deal with those issues in the states. You know, um, and as a black man, I feel safe here. I feel loved. Yeah, so I came up with a plan years ago. It was always in my head to move to Africa. I just didn't know how, right? And I thought to myself, you can't go to Africa looking for a job. You know, you have to. If you come to Africa looking for a job, don't look for a job. You want to come to Africa and create a business because there's a ton of locals here that have amazing ideas, and I guarantee you, the idea that you have, they have too. But the thing about us African Americans is we have the resources. So we can have good credit and go take a loan out at the bank in the US and invest it um, in Kenya or somewhere in Africa on a continent. So I would advise you to come here and try to create a business, partner with a local and bridge that gap, because we're so similar. There's a couple differences, but there's more similarities than differences. Um, so you can come here and create a business, or you can create a e-commerce business, or something that you can be online creating income. Um, right? There's a ton of remote jobs out there. There's and then people talk about, hey, how can I work? How can I have a remote job here? It's like, oh, you got a laptop? Can you pay for a VPN? Say no more. I know a ton of people that's working in United States at, on a call center, and their remote is a remote job. Like they wake up, they go to their little office in their room, little corner of their room. Like you can, whatever you're doing in America, you can do here, right? And I get that everybody's not an entrepreneur. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to live in Africa. You just gotta figure out a way to create that income. If you gotta work 9 to 5, well, obviously the times will be different. But if you gotta work a remote job, work the remote job. But I guarantee your life will be better, and you could take that money. Your cost of living will be lower, and you can take the money that you're not spending, you're saving, and you can invest in on the continent. You can partner with a local. Uh, like I said, there's a ton of locals. If you network, there's a ton of locals that have amazing ideas that they're just lacking the resources. And if we bridge that gap, I'm telling you, Africa will be. I mean, Africa's already. People are fighting over Africa right now. If you don't see it, Russia, America, people visiting all over the continent. Like people are fighting over it. So um, just look at the signs. So yeah, like I said, e-commerce, real estate. You can invest in real estate in the United States. Um, you can, what I say, real estate, e-commerce. Uh, you can sell Sure, you can sell life insurance online. Like if you got a phone and a computer, you can make money. There's no excuse. There's literally no excuse for someone not to be able to come here. Even when you talk about like the health system, you know, you might have diabetes or something like that. You may need some type of medication, right? And they have that here for you. You know, they have the medication here for you, and I probably guarantee you it's cheaper than, you know, what you're paying in the United States. So don't let fear get in the way. It's life changing. People say the grass isn't always greener, but I can guarantee you the grass is greener over here. Especially if you got this, the grass is greener. I'm telling you, you just gotta water it. You're watching this video for a reason. You clicked on this video for a reason. So I'm not gonna say if you come to Africa. I'm not gonna say that. We're gonna speak positivity, right? So when you come to Africa, don't just take, because Africa has a lot to offer the diaspora, a lot to offer. So many things that you probably couldn't even fathom, right? So don't just take. I know a lot of people talk about, even myself talk about that, how Africa is inexpensive to somebody that's coming from the U.S. So they offer us um, just a lower cost of living, but make sure you're giving back. I really want to touch on that. Like, make sure you're giving back. Don't just keep take. Make sure you give back. Visit the orphanages. Don't just seclude yourself to expats, people that's from the U.S. Network, talk to locals, befriend locals because they are amazing and beautiful people. And everyone I came across is had nothing but love, right? There's no hatred, there's no ill will, there's nothing like that. Um, Everybody, especially when you try to speak the language Swahili, they love that too, and they'll teach you. If you show them that you want to learn, they'll teach you. So don't just take, give back, right? Like I said, visit orphanages, go to schools. You know, try to immerse yourself into the culture because you're needed. They need you, and we need them. And it's not just a we them; it's a us thing. We need to unite because we're all the same people. We're all the same people. We just born in another country. You know, like you're still African. We're all African. I know there's a lot of you not African. You from there. Hey, I know where my blood. Hey, I did a DNA test. I know where my blood stem from. I know where I. Hey, I know who I am. But don't just take. Make sure you give back. Please give back. Right? Figure out ways. There's a ton of ways. You know, you can give back by just talking to somebody, mentoring someone, teaching them something. It doesn't have to be a monetary giving. It could be all types of things. Donate your time, resources, energy. Um, so, like I said, Africa's going to give you a lot, but make sure you give back. Okay? Um, and keep it like that. And let's bridge that gap. Let's bridge the gap because this is what's needed, right? 400 years of separation, nah, not no more. We come back home. And if you're watching this video, please like, share, and subscribe because a lot of people are contacting me, wanting to know certain things, asking me questions. And by you sharing, by you liking, and by you subscribing, is letting me know that I'm doing the right thing, right? And make sure you comment too, because let me know if you want to learn something. If I misspoke, if I said something that's not correct, correct me, right? Criticize me. Just don't be mean, you know. Just don't be mean about it. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, tribe.